Well, we are joined by the coach of Delhi Capitals, Ricky Ponting, who's here right now with me. Ricky, thank you very much for joining us. You know, this team has never played the finals, let alone going on to win. How difficult would it be, or easy would it be for you to turn around the fortunes this time around?
Oh, look, I don't think it's ever easy. It's not an easy tournament to win, is it, the IPL? I think we've seen there are a number of teams that haven't had great success, you know, RCB probably being in the same boat as Delhi, but I think the feeling I've got already so far is that it does feel different. You know, we've got new owners, we've got a rebrand, our outfits look different, you know, a different logo and a really different feel about the Delhi Capitals going into this IPL. So, I'm really excited with the squad of players that we've got, as I was last year. I think every team will be sitting back saying that they're really happy with their squad of players, and it's just about how you handle the pressure now through the tournament, really, how you handle conditions, how you handle different situations. But, you know, we've built our team around, you know, very good young and experienced Indian batting, really. You know, with our top four with Shikhar, Prithvi, Shreyas and Rishabh will be as good as any, I think. And then if we get our fast bowling side of things right and our overseas players stand up, then I think we can go really well in this tournament.
Okay, then what would be the X factor for Delhi Capitals in this edition?
Oh, I think we've got a few up our sleeve. I mean, everyone knows about the X factors that we're probably going to have, and it's probably going to be our top order Indian batting. But then you put someone like a Chris Morris in the middle order, a Rabada we haven't seen all of last year either. We know how good a bowler he can be. Sandeep Lamachani I thought was outstanding in the games that he played for us last year alongside Amit Mishra. So, you know, I think leg spin's playing a big role in all T20 cricket around the world now. We've got 3 really high-quality leg spinners in our squad, so at some stage they're going to play a big part in the tournament as well. But the thing I like about our tournament this year, we've got really good depth and really good flexibility, and that's what you need to win an IPL.
Right, you spoke about your batsman. Shikhar Dhawan is back with the Delhi team, but his form lately in one-day cricket has been inconsistent. Do you think that, IPL will serve him as a perfect opportunity to get back some consistency and a good segue into the World Cup?
Well, you'd like to think so. I mean, if you look at Shikhar's IPL career, one thing you'll say about it, it has been very consistent. You know, he's been a 450-run batsman for the Sunrisers the last 4 or 5 seasons. So we're hoping for something similar with the Delhi Capitals this year. I think the important thing for probably all of our top order batsmen, so Shikhar, Prithvi, Shreyas and Rishabh, is they don't start looking too far towards the World Cup. I think they really have to stay in the present here and think about having a good IPL and not putting too much pressure on themselves to try and impress everybody with World Cup selection just around the corner. So that's certainly what I'll be talking to those guys about. Whether or not I can convince them just to concentrate on the IPL will be a different story. But yeah, it's a high pressure time. You know, there's India now playing no more one-day internationals before the World Cup, so there will be a lot of spotlight and focus on the performance of those players during the IPL. So great challenge for us as a coaching group, but an even better challenge for those players.
How impressed were you with your own Australian boys? They were 2-0 down in the tournament in the one-day series and they came back to win. Would you say that makes selection difficult for you now in the World Cup?
I think it's going to, for sure. I mean, I think it was a brilliant effort to turn that around. I think it's the 5th time ever that a team's come back from 2-0 down in a 5-match series to win. So, and doing that in India probably makes it an even better result. So, look, they've been working their backsides off for 18 months to try and find a way to play better one-day cricket, and they've started to do that of late. But I've spoken to Justin and even a few of the senior players the last few days. They shouldn't get carried away with that. I mean, that's 3 games. And if you look back, you know, the 12 months before that, there are a lot of negative performances in there as well. Right. So, look, yeah, they'll focus on the positives and they'll take some whatever momentum they can out of that India series into the World Cup. And, you know, selecting a squad of 15 now for Australia is going to be difficult, as you say. But
and the return of Steve Smith and David Warner, does that, change the mix for you?
Oh, look, you think those guys will come straight back into the team. It's just probably a little bit harder for them now, considering that Kawaj has done so well opening the batting. And what spot do they think that Steve Smith's going to bat? Is it going to be 3? Is it going to be 4? Somewhere in that middle order. It's now probably more of a difficult proposition than it was a few weeks ago. But that's great. That's what you want. You want as much depth and as much talent around your team as you can. And what probably looked like those guys just walking straight back into the team might not necessarily be the case now. They might just have to work that little bit harder. And I think that's where the IPL becomes really important for Smith and Warner as well.
My last few questions about the Indian cricket team. There was a lot of questions raised about Virat Kohli's captaincy when MS Dhoni has not been around. What do you think of him as a captain? And do you think he can make a real impact for India in the World Cup?
Yeah, look, I do. Having been an international captain myself, I never tried to sit back and analyse what other captains were doing, because you just got no idea. I mean, you've got no idea what the captain's saying to the bowlers, and if the bowlers can execute what he's trying to set. It's I've always felt most of the captaincy stuff's done before the game and in the meetings, and then you're just reacting to situations out on the ground. So I wouldn't ever be negative towards Virat with his captaincy, because I've seen what he's been able to do with the Test team over the last couple of years, and MS hasn't been around for that. So I think it's more his presence, that little bit of presence in the field that MS brings, but he brings a certain calmness as well to the batting. Whenever he's in, that India are probably a very good chance of winning the game. And I think they missed his batting more than anything in those last 3 games, which is probably one of the reasons they didn't win.
And just about MS being in the side, there is a lot of debate whether it should be MS or Rishabh Pant making it to the World Cup squad. What do you think about it?
I'd like to see a way that both of them could be in their team, because I think he's one of the most dynamic young players in world cricket, and he's the sort of player that could have a massive impact on a World Cup. I mean, if I think back to the World Cups that I played in, where someone like an Andrew Symonds going to the 2003 World Cup, that we knew his absolute best was good enough to win us a World Cup, and it was. He played some amazing innings over there, and we ended up going on to win that 2003 World Cup. So India have a few little holes in the middle order batting that are unsure about who their number 4 batsman is going to be. I wouldn't be against giving Rishabh Pant a chance to prove himself higher up the order.
And finally, your 2 World Cup finalists.
Australia and England.
Wow, no India there. Well, he has said it for you. Ricky Ponting is giving his final predictions. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Cheers.